Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard podcast with your hosts, Collin and Braeden Cox. And again, we're joined by our special guest, Connor Pandolfo. And this segment, we're just going to give a brief overview of the 2023 season so far, the sleeper teams, and just reactions to some of the teams overall. So I guess we'll start with the Atlanta Braves, since Connor's rocking a Freddie Freeman Atlanta Braves jersey at the moment. So obviously Braves, I think they're number one in the power rankings now. They surpassed the Rays after that first week because obviously the Rays had that hot start. But Braves are one of the hottest teams in baseball. They have Acuna, and their pitching's great, and they're just reminding me a lot of that same 2021 Braves team that won the World Series a couple of years ago. So, Connor, we'll start with you again. Give me your thoughts on those Braves over there in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, just 1 through 9, you just kind of look at them and you're like, man, there's no easy outs in this lineup. There's no,
exactly.
You look at their pitching staff, you're like, man, these guys all throw, hard, and there's no weak link to their staff, and they,
right.
They all they do is win. Freddie Freeman, they were kind of almost happy to let him go. They're like, we don't want to pay you that much. And they knew that they had a superstar in the wings with Olsen just, coming in and play third base or first base, excuse me. And then just around the horn, they, Riley at third, and they got every position. These guys are studs. They hit homers. They strike you out. They're just a great baseball team.
Yeah. So following up, I guess we'll stick with that, with the AL East or NL East. Sorry, the NL East. We'll stick with. We'll get into the Phillies now. Off to a slow start. I think everyone kind of predicted that, especially after the Rhys Hoskins injury, and obviously Bryce is still out. Predicted a slow start, but I don't know if anyone predicted this slow start after their, little postseason run they had last year. I feel like I think I saw a stat where they're like lead the league in hits, but just can't score runs. Like I guess they just don't have the timely hitting that's needed to score runs. Their pitching hasn't been as great as it was last year. So Braeden, do you want to give me your thoughts on those Phils over there?
Yeah, just looking at some quick stats. So like you said, they're 400, 8-12. They've scored 87 runs, but they've given up 105. So that kind of makes sense. They're fourth in the NL East. They have a slow start again. Like we said, Bryce will be coming back in next few months. I'm not entirely sure when Bryce will exactly be back, but I did see that he was batting at Citizens Bank like a week ago. So I mean, it looked pretty promising. But we've talked about the NL East. There's so many good teams in this division. You got the Braves, obviously. They're like top 5, or their first, second, third, fourth batters are like all like fantastic hitters who hit bombs all the time, right? So you got to deal with them a bunch of times a year. The Mets are going to be there, and then you got a team like Miami too, who's good. So it's gonna be a dogfight. It always is in the NL. I like the Phillies. Definitely as a wild card team. But just, so far this year, I mean, we like I said, we kind of expected them to have a slow start. I probably expected them to be about 500, maybe a game or two more. So it's about like where I expected them. And it seems like they've played some pretty tough games in there. Like they had to play the Yankees. They played Texas to start the year. So.
Yeah, cool. And then one team I also wanted to talk about, obviously, is the Los Angeles Angels, right? I think they're sitting like a game below 500 now, like 10 and 11, 11 and 12, something like that.
Yep, they're 9 and 10.
9 and 10.
But their run differential is +8.
All right. So
they are scoring more on average. No.
Yeah, so I remember, obviously, Shohei, one of the best players in baseball. Yep. They have Trout, one of the best players in baseball. Pretty solid outfield, complementary to Trout. They have Brett Phillips and Who's their left fielder?
I'm looking right now.
It's Hunter Renfroe.
Hunter Renfroe.
Yes.
I feel like it's not terrible.
Who's going to hit 30 home
track.
runs?
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously the infield they have Gio, Rendon, just called up Nito. So super excited to see how he does.
Yeah, I don't think offense is their issue.
Yeah, it's not. So that's what I was trying to get to. It's not their offense. It's always their bullpen.
Yep.
And I guess they're starting pitching, but I've mostly seen the bullpen. We saw in the Yankees games like these past 2 days, like the starting pitching was solid overall, and then game 2 was really sloppy, that Angels-Yankees game, but Yankees were able to pull it out, and the bullpen kept getting in trouble, but the Yankees just couldn't capitalize, and eventually they did. And then game 3 yesterday was kind of just a blowout overall. And they did, I think, Yankees scored 5 runs in the first inning, so that was their starting pitching yesterday. But yeah, overall, I just feel like the Angels, a big question mark around them is this a year where they finally make the playoffs? Connor, what do you think?
No.
Yeah.
They're gonna do everything that everyone doesn't want them to do. They're gonna miss the playoffs. They're gonna lose Shohei. They're gonna kind of be scrambling to find a new identity next year. And man, as much as I love that team, it's just so hard to buy into their they do the same thing every year. They surround Mike Trout and Shohei with enough offense to say they have a good offense, and then they can't back it up with their pitching. Funny story, Connor.
Go ahead.
Braeden and I actually made an Angels episode basically saying the same thing that you just said. They always try to do the right moves, but they just never get that bullpen right. And we both said, as much as we would love to see Mike Trout and Shohei in the playoffs, we just don't think it's going to happen. It'd be so good for the game. But anyway, so we made a whole episode on it, and then so my phone was we were live, so my phone was actually recording in person. And I ran out of storage on my phone, so it only got 10 seconds of the video. So we recorded a
35-minute video, and it had 20 seconds.
We'll have to come back. I could talk about Mike Trout and Shohei all day. They are, generational stars.
So we can get through a bunch of different teams. You're saying Shohei, they missed the playoffs. Shohei's gone. Where's Shohei playing next year? If you had to guess right
obviously
now,
the Bronx,
the Dodgers,
or pick a team or two.
He's on the Dodgers.
Where? The Dodgers.
Dodgers. Wow. Yeah. He's not going to leave the West Coast. He's not going to be a Yankee. He's not going to be a Red Sox. I think off chance he's a Cub. But he's, there's got to go a team that is already, proven and that can pay him. And they have to be a West Coast team. He's, if you want the viewership from Japan and you want your fans from Japan watching you,
that's true.
You gotta be a West Coast team.
What about San Francisco?
He could.
Maybe.
I think the Dodgers
or the Padres.
They're the Dodgers.
Or the Padres.
He won't fit with the Padres. They're just a different vibe over there, I feel like.
Yeah, and nothing against the Padres vibe.
Yeah.
They, just the Mets, they were, they're all in. I saw a video today of the Padres owner walking around the stadium during the game. They're all in, but like you said, it's a different culture. They Tatis, Juan Soto, they're kind of buying into something else, and I just feel like the classic Dodgers, the history. My guess is that speaking through a translator is very tough, and that in order to do that and get the right vibe, you need to work in kind of a professional setting, which is my guess is what the Dodgers have. But I think he's a Dodger. That
makes sense.
Interesting.
Especially because they're a very marketable team.
Yeah.
Probably the most marketable team.
It makes sense.
Yankees.
It would make sense. With everything you said there, West Coast, get the viewership overseas. Yeah, no, you're spot on. The team that probably makes the most sense, if it's not the Angels, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. But
plus
you mentioned, we talked about the
city.
Exactly, yeah. So I mentioned the Padres, you mentioned Tatis. Tatis came back yesterday after his suspension. He went 0 for 5, I think, or 0 for 4.
0 for 5, 2 strikeouts.
What about So let's talk about the Padres, right? Because a lot of people had like going into the season as like the Padres are definitely, no questions, a team to watch this year. Like they made it into the NL Championship last year. They lost to Philadelphia. What do we think about San Diego? I'll start with Connor.
Yeah, they're still the same team. I think this week Manny Machado was like, when people are going to sleep on us now, and when we get to the playoffs, I'm going to remember every single person that said we were the underdogs. But it's like, and maybe other writers are saying that, I don't know. But in my mind, they're just a good team that's kind of struggling to start the year. And maybe Tatis kind of lights that fire in their butt to get them going. But just like the Phillies, I'm not worried that they're not going to make a playoff run, or they're not going to be in contention at the end of the year for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I think at this rate, the Padres definitely have a higher chance of being there than the Phillies. And then kind of piggybacking off what Connor said, I feel like the Padres are just a really streaky team. They're really hot at some points and then really cold, but they're overall just a really good team, and they'll end up in the playoffs. So I don't know if they'll be able to win the West again or West this year, but they'll definitely at least be a wild card team. So
like the Phillies, though, I will say they are a fun team to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
The way those guys play baseball, there's a showmanship to it. It's exciting.
Yeah.
All
Cool.
Right. One more team, or a couple more teams I want to get into is our boys over there in Wrigleyville, the Chicago Cubs, right? It's kind of a sleeper team to start the season. Off to a decent start. I think they're 12-7, right?
Patrick Wisdom.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah,
start learning that name.
Tied for the league in home runs, I think, with 9.
With Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
Right? Yep, they both have 9, yep.
Who else has 9?
Pete Alonso.
Oh, Pete Alonso.
I think Pete Alonso has had, I think he is the MLB leader for the past 3 years or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, he hits a lot of home runs.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, like, Colin and I, before the season started, we talked about a few teams that we were like, this team could be a sleeper. And one of the teams that Colin said, and I didn't really buy into it, was the Chicago Cubs. So I was like, what do they got? They got Trey Mancini. Yeah, Cody Bellinger's there. But looking at it, like, yeah, you mentioned Wisdom, right? Dansby Swanson. You got Mancini, like I said. Eric Hosmer.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Hosmer's a good baseball player. Ian Happ just got, I'm pretty sure, an extension on his contract. Like, they got a team there. Like, I'm not saying it's a team that come September, October, I really expect to be there, just because, at the end of the day, like, with that division, like, maybe they could squeak in, but to make noise, I don't really see it. But they've been a fun team, definitely, to watch. The whole the Patrick Wisdom has been a really good story.
Yeah, so I feel like baseball's just better when the Cubs are doing good. It's just overall, it's just better. I know a little mainstream there, but it just, when the Cubs are having fun, everyone watching's having fun too. So that's good. Good for the Cubbies for now. Connor, what are your thoughts on those Cubs?
They're a lot of guys that have done things with a lot of other teams very successfully.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to say that, I besides maybe Dansby, I really didn't think that they would find success in Chicago. But they've proven me wrong that they even without like being on the Braves or being on the Dodgers or I think Hosmer's on the Padres, like they can still come together and have run production and just come together as a team and just win. Would they win 13-0 today?
Yeah,
and Drew Smiley he went 7 2/3.
He was in a perfect game.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a sec. Did you guys? So I tuned in. I was
the catcher.
I was still working.
Right?
I was on the clock, so I tuned in. Like when I got that alert, like, oh, Drew Smiley has a perfect game through 7. I turned it on, and then something came up on my laptop, like for work. And then I look up, I see someone on first. I'm like, oh, how'd he get on? I watched a replay. I was like, wow,
So,
Like, are you
I'm
kidding?
gonna-
Like, that's the way you're gonna. And I do think. I do
Go
think.
ahead.
Who was it? Peralta or who? I think it was David Peralta that broke up the perfect game. I think it would have been safe anyway, but still, even though like such a like fluke hit.
It sucks to
end the
lose
game.
it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sucks to
I think
lose
the
it that
exit
way.
velocity was like 32 miles per hour or something. Something stupid. Yeah,
That's less than our wiffle balls, Connor.
yeah, I know. Hot take: Drew Smiley should have let the catcher field that ball.
I think he would have been safe either way.
I agree, but
He was halfway down. He was like 5 steps away by the time they picked it up, and then it would have been a clean pickup and then a clean throw.
well, that's why Drew Smiley's going away from the he's a lefty, so he's falling off the mound to the left.
Yeah.
And so he has to pick the ball up, turn his back, and then throw to first base. As a catcher, he's already running with his back to first base. So the way
Yeah.
we're taught is that you're just kind of you're fielding the ball as you're turning.
Right.
So he would have had the momentum to make the best throw. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a professional baseball coach. A professional, pitching coach might tell you that's the wrong answer. But in my mind, I know the catcher ran into him, but Drew
Yeah.
Smiley should have let the catcher. I forget what the catcher's name was.
I think it was like just right in the perfect spot where like it could have gone either way.
It was
honestly.
tough to communicate because it's
Yeah.
like either of them could have got to
And
it. Either of
with
them
the perfect game on the line. They're both trying to make
Yeah.
a play to keep that perfect game
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Any
I
other
said,
teams you
I
wanna
think
talk about?
Peralta would have been safe anyway.
Yeah. Steve, are there any other teams you want to talk about? Because I know a team we could talk about, but it's kind of a sour subject.
What about America's team?
The Cowboys, they're in the NFL.
The Pirates, baby. The
that where
Pittsburgh
you're going,
Pirates
Braeden?
are a fun team to
Yeah,
root for.
well, no, I was gonna go the route of the Oakland Athletics, but there's not really much to talk about there because they're terrible.
No.
Um,
Let's talk about the Pirates.
but yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in on the Pirates. I think they're a really fun team. My buddy from my one roommate from college was a massive Pittsburgh Pirates fan. So like, yeah, they're 14-7. That's you're winning 2 out of 3. That's good. That's really good to start the season through 20 games. You're almost a month in, and that division. The Brewers look good. The Pirates look good, and then there's the Cubs. I was kind of expecting more from the Cardinals, even though they went and lost. They lost a few guys there, but I think that's going to be more competitive than I think people think.
That NL Central.
Yeah, the NL Central with Milwaukee and then Pittsburgh and even Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of fun teams there to watch, for sure. And then even me as a Bengals fan, I always root for those Reds a little bit too. So doesn't really turn out. So I'm glad I'm not both Reds and Bengals. Glad I'm just Bengals for Cincinnati sports teams. And then do you want to
There
get
you
to
go.
one last team?
Yeah, we'll do one more, and then I want to talk. I want to see what like predictions or like who you got in the World Series because I don't know who Connor's got.
All right. I was just gonna say the Diamondbacks are off to a better start. Fun young team over there in Arizona, the Serpientes.
Yeah.
I think do they still have Ketel Marte? I don't even know.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so
I think
either.
he's on. I thought he was on the Mets. Yeah, no.
I couldn't
No, they
name.
don't.
I honestly couldn't name
Maybe
3
he's
players on the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he's a Diamondback.
Evan
He
Longoria
is, right?
is
He's
on
still
the
there.
Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
Evan Longoria.
the big name to learn on the Diamondbacks is Corbin Carroll, right?
Yeah, and Evan Longoria if he's relevant anymore.
Yeah, Kevin Longoria's not relevant anymore.
And what's his name? Bumgarner.
Baumgartner. Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up.
Getting DFA'd. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
he's old though. Like it was time. He had like a 10 ERA or something.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not.
It was time.
That
Good career.
That's it. To me, it's a great career. A Hall of Fame one? Would you say?
No.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Maybe. He's good.
He was solid.
Has he
He
ever
was
won?
really good for like a 3 or 4 year stretch with the Giants.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I think he won 2 rings with them.
I'm looking it up right now. Actually, yeah. So he
If he
played.
won 2
he played
rings
for
with the
San.
Giants,
He played
then maybe.
for San Francisco. He played for San Francisco for 10 years.
And how many
That's a
rings
long
did he get
time.
with them? 2, right?
Let's see.
I think it had to be 2. Or was it just 1?
3.
3. He got 3.
He won 2010, 2012, and 2014, all with San Francisco.
That might be a Hall of Fame case.
That might be a Hall of Fame career because he's got 3 rings.
3
and he
rings.
had, like, those were years that he was really good.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Now, let me
Yeah.
hear some World Series predictions.
Steve,
Do
start
you
us off.
want to hear my serious one or my funny one?
Well, it's either serious. I'm only about serious ones.
Well, obviously, you
There's-
gotta go with the Yankees.
There's baseball that you have in your heart, and then there's baseball you have in your head.
I'm gonna go right now. I guess. No, it's way too mainstream.
careful.
I'm gonna say Yankees Dodgers. That's way too mainstream. Both of them get knocked out. I don't know. Give me a fun one. Do you guys have your thoughts and come back to me maybe?
I know
Sure,
I know
yeah.
who I'm picking.
All right, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, go for Braden.
I can't pick against the Yankees in the AL. The only other team I would pick, and I don't want them. It's probably the last team I wanted. It is the Houston Astros because they've been there, they've done that. So I'm gonna say the Yankees, and then in the NL, I'm gonna go Atlanta because I think a team like the teams that I could see them going up well against is like the Dodgers. But the Dodgers are a team that like they struggle to close it out. Like they'll be good all year, and then when it comes time for the playoffs, they kind of, I don't want to say fall apart, but I mean, look, they made it to the World Series in the COVID year, and like they've been loaded some of these years, and they haven't gotten there. So I like a team like Atlanta because I like, pitching. Pitching really matters, and they have probably the best pitching staff in the NL. Go ahead, Connor.
Okay.
What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with that, and like I said, the heart wants what the heart wants, but the World Series goes through Houston, and the game actually just ended right here. The Astros took Game 1 over the Braves 6-4. So I think this is a World Series preview. It looked like Yordan Alvarez hit a 2-run home run in the top of the 9th to put him on top. But that's
He's
the
good,
kind
man.
of gritty games you're going to get between the Braves and the Astros. And the Astros don't get enough credit. They're kind of cold. They're missing their spark plug, Jose Altuve. They're the same way as the Braves though. They're 9 guys deep. Their bullpen's deep. Their starting pitching's deep. They just called their young star Hunter Green. Not Hunter Green.
Hunter Green's on the Reds. He's got his extension.
Sorry, I can't think of his name. He's on my fantasy baseball team.
On the pitcher for the Braves.
No, he's a pitcher for the Astros. Hunter Spencer, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Hunter Brown. That's
Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown. Yeah.
Hunter Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hunter Brown.
Hunter Brown, Hunter Green. I see. I got mixed up.
But they but they have one guy go down. And they call up their top pitching prospect, and all of a sudden he's 2-0 in the big leagues with a 2.5 ERA. Like that's just the kind of organization they are, that they can win the World Series, fire their GM, and still be that good.
Yeah, they're veteran. It's across the board. It's a veteran franchise.
They're the
at
Kansas
this
City
point,
Chiefs
as
of
much
the
as I hate
MLB.
to see- Pretty much, yeah.
Literally.
Steve, going back to you.
Going back to me, I'm choosing a fun one. This is what I want. You guys, so Braden said Yankees, Braves. Connor said Astros, Braves. I'm going to choose just 2 different teams besides those 2. So if it's not the Yankees, it's not the Astros. I'm I'm not buying anyone. I'm not buying anyone in the AL Central right now.
Neither am I.
Between the Rangers, the Cubs, or not the Cubs, the White Sox, Guardians.
I think I know what you're going to
Twins.
say here. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say here.
I'm going. You have to go with the Rays, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I had to pick a team besides the Astros, the Yankees, I'm
1
picking the
through 9.
Rays because the Rays
And they play ball, and they have
3
experience.
games. They do.
They have no flair
So
for
you're-
dramatic.
Yeah, they're just, they get the job done. They win baseball games. They go on about their day. So I'm gonna go Rays, and then you guys both said Braves. I don't want to say Dodgers; it's too boring. Don't want to say Padres. When the Phillies got hot in August, I kind of did call that last year. I'm like, don't let the Phillies get hot in the playoffs, because they're a very good baseball team, top to bottom. But this year it's not gonna be the Phillies. Their magic has run out. I think I'm gonna go with the Chicago Cubbies. Give me a Rays Cubs World Series.
Wow. You know what I thought you were going to say?
Not that I actually think it's going to happen. Like, I wouldn't put money on it, but I could see it happening. And I also, if it's not the Yankees in there, that's what I would want to see. Would be Cubs Rays. And I'd root for the Cubs. So
Interesting. So, okay, so I said Yankees, Braves. I would obviously pick the Yankees in 6, right? Connor, you said Braves, Houston. Who's winning it, though?
You're really gonna make me say Houston?
I'm just curious because you're wearing a Brave shirt, but you're very high up on Astros.
dude,
I
the
mean,
Braves could definitely
as you should be.
The Braves beat Houston already.
Yeah.
And the Braves, I feel like, are better than they were that year. More experienced.
We'll see. Come back to me when the playoffs start, and we'll
do an
you'll-
All-Star break.
We'll
pod.
definitely have a bunch of playoff episodes.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a lot. 'cause
Colin's
it's
pick
gonna
with the Cubs.
What's that?
Your pick with the Cubs. I'm really surprised.
I'm going Rays in 6. Rays over Cubs in
After you
6.
said that you were gonna pick a fun team, you know who I thought you were gonna pick? I thought you were gonna say the Mets.
The Mets.
No.
Yeah, because you were saying like, oh, the Phillies magic's gonna run out, and I was like, okay, if he's not picking the Phillies, he's not picking the Braves. I was like, he's not gonna pick the Brewers or the Pirates or anyone in the West. I was like, maybe he picks the Mets.
I thought you were gonna pick the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are a fun baseball team.
That's another team.
I don't
Yeah,
like the Blue Jays though. Like, I don't like them.
Like
because
because
I think I hate the Blue Jays more
You
than
don't
I hate
like
the
them
Red
'cause they're
Sox
good?
right now.
Oh really?
No. Every year, every offseason, say the same thing. Oh, this is our year.
They should be
Vlad
good.
Guerrero's like,
Yeah.
last year was a trailer. This year's the movie. And every time they beat the Yankees, they act like they win the World Series, and then they're
That's
knocked
true.
out in the first round every year.
Well, there was
Yeah.
almost a
They
fight
were-
on the game today.
There's almost a fight. Like, they're all about
Yeah, I
the
think
drama.
what's his last name? Weiser. I can't say his last name. Greg, the guy who throws
on the
like
Blue Jays?
crazy sliders.
Greg Weissert.
Yeah, I think he hit Vladdy,
Yeah.
and Vladdy was like staring him down, and Rizzo came out of the dugout.
Yeah, because they're all like they take everything so personal. Like, wasn't it probably like 4-1 at that time or something? Why would he be hitting him in that situation?
Bro,
They're
do you see
all about the
Vlad said
dramatic.
today?
I don't like them.
Yeah.
Just play
Vlad's
ball, man.
always like, I hate the Yankees.
Dude,
like,
Bobichet's
it's
like that,
personal. Yeah.
And like, I mean, I like Matt Chapman. Like, there's nothing to like about Matt Chapman, but like those core guys over there, Vlad, Cavan, and who's there now? Craig or Cavan? Biggio.
Cavan's in the
Biggio.
infield.
Cavan.
Cabin.
Yeah.
That-
And they got Springer.
Hate Springer. I hate Springer because he's good.
I hate Springer. Oh my god, I can't stand
Who do you
him.
hate more, Springer or Correa?
Correa.
Springer.
I was at the Yankee game on Sunday. The boos were for that when Correa came up were fun. It was fun to hate that guy.
Oh, you went to the game and you didn't even talk about it on the pod?
Oh.
That was a
I'm
Sunday
sorry.
one,
I'm trying to stay a neutral baseball fan here.
Ugh.
Let me tell you real quick. My brother Aaron Judge was warming up with a ball with Aaron Hicks, and after every inning, Aaron Judge throws the ball into the crowd,
Yeah.
and Aaron Judge threw it off the ad above us, and my brother caught it.
Whoa.
So my
Really?
brother caught an area. Yeah. It was
Which
was
one?
awesome. Say it again? Zach.
Luke. Oh, nice.
Zach,
nice.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah,
That's
you should.
awesome.
All, you know,
That's so cool.
all the college kids around him were like high fiving him. It was.
That's cool.
It was yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, Garrett Cole complete game shutout, 2 hours 7 minutes.
Wow, that's the way to do
insane.
Yeah.
What
I think
crazy.
it took us longer to get to the stadium than it did for the game to happen.
That's the one thing I don't like about the timer is it literally takes longer to get there than it does to watch the actual game.
Yeah, but I mean, we can get into a lot more with the rule. We could probably do a whole other podcast on just the rules.
We're not going to get into that right now.
But.
So yeah. By the way, I know we already talked about the Diamondbacks, but they lead the West right now. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's obviously beginning of the season, a lot could happen, but just think it's cool to see that they're in it.
And we talked about this before we started the pod. Yeah, they lead the West right now, but they have a negative run differential. And the Dodgers in third place at 10-11 are the only team that has a positive run differential, and they're in third place.
Really? And they lost by 13 today, so they got a negative 13 run differential today alone. The Dodgers did.
Yeah, so they were up 20. They lost 13-0, so they were up 23.
Yeah.
I mean, you got at the end of the day though, like you can throw all the stats you want. The only one that matters is the win.
That's true.
You got to find a way to win baseball games.
That's true.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, cool. I think that about wraps it up. I know we kind of were very all over the place in this one, but
we talked about a bunch of different things. We went to the but it was good.
I'll tell my brother to caption this one just baseball.
There you go.
Yeah.
Collin,
Awesome.
Connor, and Braeden talk about baseball.
There you go.
All right. You guys have anything else? So I'm going. So Braden's going Yankees over Braves. Connor's going Astros over Braves, and I'm going Rays over Cubbies.
Yeah, I mean, final thought.
But you would root for the Cubs though, of course.
Obviously, dude. If they make the World Series, I'll get a Wrigleyville City Connect jersey.
I was gonna say that. I was like, I think he's picking the Cubs because he loves their City Connect jerseys.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Nah, dude. Like I said before, when the Cubs are good, everyone loves watching baseball.
Yeah, baseball's good when the Cubs are good. You're right.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. In the Yard podcast with your hosts, Collin and Braeden. Connor, thank you again for coming on the show. Hopefully, we'll have you on for a lot more episodes moving forward. And everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll have more content coming soon. Thank you, everyone.
Yep. See ya.